था, 11 तारीख से फिर से बुलडोजर चलने जा रहा है।
योगी के काम से मेरा पूरा परिवार बहुत संतुष्ट है।
और हमें चाहिए का, हमें सारी सुविधा तो इन्होंने दे रहा है, तो हमें चाहिए ऐसे ही सरकार।
भारत माता की। देना आपां केजरीवाल नूं, एक मौका देना भगवंत मान नूं, एक मौका देना भगवंत मान नूं।
पहले दिल्ली में इनकलाब हुआ, अब पंजाब में इनकलाब हुआ, अब ये इनकलाब पूरे देश के अंदर फैलेगा।
मौका है, जरा बड़ा मारो।
बहुत बहुत थोड़ा शुक्रिया। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह।
जीत गया भाई, जीत गया।
इंडिपेंडेंट पीपल आर सपोर्टिंग अस। बाकी जो कोई सपोर्ट करता है उन सभी को हम सपोर्ट ले लेंगे।
This is the credit to the country's Prime Minister and for all that he has done for the state of Goa.
Hello and welcome. The people have spoken, and they've spoken vociferously and decisively. This is a turning point election in this country, and will be looked back in history as a major election leading up to the 2024 Lok Sabha election. We'll go into why it's so important, but first of all, what's the story of this election? The story of this election is the huge return to power in Uttar Pradesh by the BJP. It had already done extremely well in 2017, done even better with 52% of the vote in 2019. But in 2017 it had 42, and this time it's got 45 to 46%, 45.5, so almost 4% higher than 2017. A huge and a major achievement, given there was COVID in between, there were all kinds of other problems, inflation, oil prices rising, and we'll look into why that happened. But first, what's the story of the UP election? Let's just have a look at just some of the data. Of course, all this will be revised, and Jeeves will correct me, and so will Yogendra, but they'll do it politely afterwards, right? Yeah.
Unlike Dorab, who'll do it
Dorab, that's the problem.
openly.
Dorab, you're on mute, you know that. Okay, let's have a look at what the story of this election is. What happened to the votes of the BJP and the Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh? This is what it looked like. If you have a look at that graphic, here it is. First of all, there's a wave across all states, and one should be clear, the BJP, there was a positive wave in every state except Uttarakhand, where it was just under 2% away from it, but it still did very well and won quite decisively. And on the other side, there's a negative swing from Congress in 4 out of the 5 states. They have a small swing in their favor in Uttarakhand. But look at UP, +4 for BJP, Manipur +5, Goa +2, Punjab +2.5 even in Punjab, and Uttarakhand -2. And the Congress just decimated, -4, -17, -6, -16 and +5. So it's a wave across states. It's a uniform swing which Dorab has always talked about. Actually, so has David Butler. Dorab and David, same. Now moving on to focusing just on Uttar Pradesh, what happened there? The UP story. Bottom line is, BSP, Congress and others, their vote went down by 18%, of which 4% went to the BJP and 14% went to the SP and its allies. So the BSP, Congress and others down 18%, and all of it didn't go to the Samajwadi Party. 4% went to the BJP. That's why its vote went up from 42 to 45, 46, or 41.5 to 45.5. So that's what really is the essence of this story. That opposition, apart from the Samajwadi Party, collapsed, but it didn't all switch to other opposition parties.
BSP collapsed.
BSP collapsed.
Sorry.
Yeah. You said Samaj. No, doesn't matter. BSP collapsed.
BSP collapsed. Thank you for correcting me. But you could have done it privately.
I realize. There'll be hell to pay.
We can talk about it later. So, non-SP, non-Samajwadi Party opposition collapsed, and the votes went mainly to the Samajwadi Party, but also 4% to the BJP. Of course, it's not this simple. It does. It's a little complicated. Some go from SP to BJP. Some go from BJP. It goes, but that's the net. Gilles, would you expect when an opposition party collapses, the vote should go to another opposition party? But BJP vote went up.
Yes, because when you go from a multipolar fight into a bipolar fight,
Right.
or a reasonably bipolar fight,
Right.
you would expect, as you just show, a distribution of votes between the two parties. In a way, it makes the votes of both parties, of the two major parties, lift to an extent. It looks like the SP succeeded in capturing more of the opposition vote, the non-SP opposition vote, than the BJP,
Right.
but the BJP did. The question is also, and we don't actually have the answer, but the question is to what extent the BJP succeeded in retaining all the voters that it had gathered in previous elections and added those, 3-4% of additional voters, or if we have, more volatility. But quite frankly, given the scale of the results, I'm not sure it's going to matter immensely.
Right. There's also a map which I wanted to just show where the BJP has done particularly well and where the SP has actually surged a bit.
Yeah.
If you have a look at the map of UP, it's quite clear that where the whole SP is kind of a belt down the center, and this is where Shekhar spent a lot of his time in the green belt, not knowing it wasn't typical of the whole state. In fact, you even heard a speech of the Prime Minister and Anupriya Patel in that green belt, and you thought the whole world is like the green belt. Look at it. Look at the map, and you'll see that the real sweep, we've got 12% margin, huge margins in the southeast and north.
And look at Bundelkhand. Those districts are the most backward,
Right.
and the driest.
Yeah.
And they actually last time was 20 out of 20 to the BJP. This time it's 18 out of 20 to the BJP. But Prannoy, I don't want to jump in, but we have some very big, important newsmakers.
Like Dorab?
Like Dorab is, of course, the biggest of them all, but we have some key players in the selection. We've got Vishwajit Rane, I believe, is with us from Goa. He's
Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much, sir.
He's a big player. We've got Anupriya Patel. Prannoy, she's of course Union Minister, key ally of the NDA, of the Apna Dal, is with us, and Abhishek Singhvi is also going to be joining us. So,
And Anupriya Patel, thank you very much for staying on. We heard your speech in Eastern Uttar Pradesh, and you're an excellent orator. It was really good. Thank you very much for staying on.
right. So we'll
And congratulations!
Yeah.
What a
Thank you
victory!
very
What a
much.
victory!
What?
It surprised you also?
No, it didn't surprise me at all. I was always confident. Why would it surprise me?
No, the
I've toiled
scale.
5 years. My party workers have toiled 5 years.
The
And
scale of
it
the
was a
victory.
complete package of so many.
Yeah.
So
Well, anyway, a
The scale
pleasant
of the
surprise,
victory?
even if it was.
right, it's so you have
It's not a
I'm just
surprise
kidding.
for
Of
me
course,
at
it
all.
not. Yeah.
well in a sense the surprise is Goa, because everybody thought that Goa is going to be hung, but Goa actually has turned out to be now virtually, you can look at the latest numbers, but it almost could be the BJP on its own. Vishwajit Rane is with us, Health Minister. Thanks very much indeed, Vishwajit, for joining us. Congratulations to you, Vishwajit. Just tell us about that, because
thank you, Srinivasan. Thank
you know, the sense that a lot of us got, and I have to confess that even when I was there, the perception was that the race was narrowing towards the end. The Congress was kind of resurgent, but that's not, that it didn't play out like that. It's the BJP now virtually, on its own.
Srinivasan, if you look at the situation of Goa and also the surveys that were coming out and the polls of polls, there was a perception that was being created that Congress is in the reckoning and Congress is going to actually form the government in the state of Goa. But if you actually see that the vote bank and the vote base of the BJP has remained intact, and people like Aam Aadmi Party coming in, TMC coming in, and Congress did not do a lot of work on the ground. While the BJP, through our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji and the infrastructure money that was spent in the state of Goa, I think the people have appreciated this fact, and our vote base and vote share has also increased. But if you look at the situation of the Congress today, in 2017, from 17 they have come down to 11, while we have moved on to achieving about 20 seats on our own. So this is the situation as far as Goa is concerned. The people have stayed with the BJP and the BJP voters have not shifted. But while there has been a split in the other vote share of the Congress party between the AAP, Trinamool, Revolutionary Goans and the Congress. So I think that's an important factor to look at.
Okay.
So Rane, thank you again very much for joining us and many congratulations. It's an amazing victory because also like UP, Goa went through a lot of COVID problems. It affected your tourism, especially people from abroad, but you fought back and after a terrible economic upheaval that you've just faced because of external factors, you've still come back. What
Yes,
new are you going to do in Goa? What are its basic problems which you couldn't address in the first, in your last tenure and you will change now?
So actually, if you, the Honorable Prime Minister has already made a commitment to the people of Goa where a large amount of money for coastal infrastructure will be given so that we can attract high-end tourists. During COVID, though other places were suffering as far as tourism is concerned and tourism, we are a tourism related state, we found a lot of people coming into and shifting residences to Goa. And there was a short period where the industry suffered and bounced back also at the same speed. And if we get a lot of money and coastal infrastructure is improved and we are in a better position, what we could not do in the last term, and several other such projects like road infrastructure is already being improved, and also our airport is going to be ready in another year or so. And I think this coastal infrastructure and a fund for the coastal projects which the Honorable Prime Minister has already committed, I think we will be able to attract and raise the level of tourism in the state of Goa. Goa requires marinas, Goa requires several other infrastructure on lines of Singapore, and I think Goa being a small state, and if we are able to offer something different to the tourists, Goa will be able to do well, and I think we will be able to increase the number of people coming to the state of Goa and offer a lot much better and better quality tourism in the state of Goa.
Anupriya Patel, I know you campaigned vigorously, and I honestly was just kidding when I said it's a surprise. It was a pleasant outcome, I meant to say. And I heard your speech, it was very vigorous. Is there going to be any change in the BJP in Uttar Pradesh in your policies now? I mean, you have, again, just like Goa, you bounced back after terrible COVID and people kind of seem to have forgiven you, which is very tough in any country, in any election. What's going to change now? Because you have a huge mandate, it's the second time in. It's also a huge responsibility, right?
Certainly. I agree that this big historic mandate comes with a huge responsibility and people expect even more from us and we must live up to those expectations. You used the term change. I would say instead of change, it is continuity. Our good policies have delivered. Tangible benefits have reached people, the needy and the poor, the women, the deprived. And I think we need to continue and we need to increase them more. And there are certain issues of concern which need to be addressed. One such issue could be the stray cattle menace. I think we seriously need to work towards it. And employment generation is our promise. We have to keep this promise. We have started working towards it. There is a lot more that we need to do when it comes to giving a job in the hands of the youth, because we have to work towards giving them a bright future. That's our responsibility.
That's very important. In fact, just stay on with us because also, Prannoy, we have Raghav Chadha with us.
Just one more question from Anupriya. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Because, I mean, UP is such a big story. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I would actually have all of them together. But yes, sure. Please.
I think Anupriya Patel is in a bit of a rush. And I just wanted to ask you, you were accused, and this is not us speaking, but a lot of people said, you know, it was a underlying slightly communal election campaign. Certain remarks made. Is that going to calm down a bit? Is it going to be more inclusive this time?
Well, I do not govern the political narrative which the bigger parties try to set. Whenever it is SP and BJP in Uttar Pradesh, this is the kind of narrative both parties have always tried to set. However, if you go to the core reasons why people voted us back to power, I think these issues were completely out of everybody's agenda. People voted on good governance and inclusive growth. Why I say inclusive? Because benefits have actually reached people. So it is different sections of the society which have benefited.
Are you going to stop the rations now? Are you going to stop the rations?
Inclusive governance.
Sorry, are you going to stop the rations now?
The free ration was given because in COVID pandemic time, people really needed it. They lost their jobs and we couldn't have kept people stay hungry. That was our responsibility. If need be, we'll continue. If not, we will try to, we are going to try and create alternatives so that people are capable enough to fill their own stomach. However, I'm not yet aware of the government policy, whether it is going to continue or not. But that's what I feel. We must empower people instead of giving them crutches all the time. But yes, in COVID pandemic times, it was a need. It was our responsibility. We should have done it.
Very well put. Thank you so much for staying on and talking to us.
And just stay on.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Let's see if you can stay on for a second, because we've got this great young lineup of Gen Next politicians. You've got Raghav Chadha from Aam Aadmi Party. You've got Vishwajit Rane and Anupriya Patel. Raghav Chadha, thank you and big congratulations to you. Huge win in Punjab. You were one of the faces of this big win, and you've got actually Raghav. You got Vishwajit Rane in Goa. You got Anupriya Patel. So I mean, is this a chance for all of you to just congratulate each other, because you are all going to be peers now politically, right? You'll be.
Good point.
You want to say anything to them, and they can also.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Raghav. You're on mute.
My heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to Mr. Rane as well as Anupriya ji, and I wish them all the very best. And I hope now that the elections are over, all of us can rise above party politics and actually, do the job that have been assigned to us by the people.
Okay.
There's one small graphic I wanted to show you, Raghav Chadha. It's a graphic on Punjab and how you've created a kind of record. You did create a record, Aam Aadmi Party, in Delhi, and we've written about that as the biggest victory in the history of India. And look in Punjab, you are this time the second highest at 92 seats, the second highest in the last 60 years. There was once where Akali plus BJP got 93, but as a single party, you're the highest since 1952. Amazing. That record, did that surprise you? I'm going to ask you the same question. Were you shocked at how well you did?
We weren't shocked, Dr. Roy, to be honest with you. We were certainly expecting, and this is very much on expected lines. This is what the internal surveys of the party were also showing.
Right.
And in a tsunami like this, it is often difficult to predict the number of seats,
right,
the exact number that you're going to get. As you know this very, very well and much better than perhaps any other person in this country.
Except
so therefore,
Shekhar.
we were certainly hopeful that it's going to be a landslide. I said this sometime, probably with a bit of overconfidence that we'll probably get a 3/4, and we've actually got a 3/4 majority.
Right. Raghav?
This is unbelievable. This is a chamatkar, you know.
Yeah,
It is
fantastic.
It is a
Only
chamatkar.
because of the blessings of the Almighty. Yeah.
But tell me, Raghav, now, you know, everyone has been seeing this as the big shift in national politics. Does this now make Arvind Kejriwal, the Aam Aadmi Party, a national player? Is Arvind Kejriwal, you think, going to be a potential prime ministerial davedar after this?
So a couple of things, a couple of key takeaways from today's Punjab election result. One is that AAP certainly has arrived as a national force. We're at the national stage today, number one. Number two, Mr. Kejriwal has emerged as perhaps, the chief protagonist of India's most successful political startup. We're the fastest growing political party in the country. And if you were to rewind back to, when the BJP was incorporated, BJP had the legacy of Jansangh. It had the entire paraphernalia of Jansangh. And even then it took BJP 10 long years after its formation to win its first state. We're less than 10 years old and we won 2 states, one Delhi and the other Punjab, and both with huge majorities. So the third takeaway is that whenever an alternative is offered to the people and they are yearning for change, they respond to it and they opt for that alternative. And that is something that happened in Delhi. That's something that's happened in Punjab. I feel AAP is going to be the principal challenger. Mr. Kejriwal is going to be the principal challenger to the BJP, and AAP is going to replace the Congress.
You have
nationally.
a question for any of the...
Well, also, sorry, just to welcome very quickly, Rita Bahuguna Joshi ji is also with us. Obviously, senior
Namaskar.
leader BJP from Uttar Pradesh. Ma'am, great to have you. So,
Thank you.
Well, to Raghav, as I can see, you are now moving in where you find the weakest challenger, which is the Congress party. You vacuum cleaned the Congress party in Delhi. Now you've done so in Punjab. So, am I right to presume that Gujarat is your next target because that election is coming up later this year?
Two things. We will, of course, be contesting the upcoming elections. The strategy of the Aam Aadmi Party to contest in Gujarat or Himachal or any other state is something that we'll, of course, talk more about in the coming days and weeks. I personally feel that from Kashmir to Kerala, from Guwahati to Gujarat, India needs the Kejriwal model of governance, and several states are yearning for change. So, of course, we will certainly stop at a junction very soon, and that junction will be revealed. Secondly, I, do not actually concur with this assessment that we are only winning in states where Congress is there and Congress is the weakest, and therefore we're easily able to capture that space. If you look at the vote share in Delhi, we polled more than 54-55% of the total votes that were that polled. That means even the BJP voters voted for us. The Congress, traditional Congress voters voted for us.
Right.
The traditional BSP voters voted for us. Similarly, in Punjab, Akali voters, people who used to vote for the Akali, even the Panthik voters have opted for the Aam Aadmi Party. The Congress voters who were traditionally with the Congress party have voted for us. Even those who wanted to vote for the BJP previously or wanted to go with the farmers have voted for us. So it's not that we're only replacing the Congress in that.
Dorab, a question. Would you like to... First, before you ask a question, can I ask you a question? Is this one of the most significant elections you've ever... and you've done quite a few elections.
Yes, it is one of the most significant ones, and more so for Punjab, in the sense that, in all states there are political hierarchies, dynasties. If you look at Punjab from independence, there have been the Kairons, the Badals, the Patialas, the Dillons, the Brats, all wiped out in one fell swoop. I mean, all states have leadership. There's none left. They're all out. I mean, I don't think it's happened in a large state in a very, very long time, if it's ever happened.
I think Raghav wants to comment on what you're saying.
That,
yes. Dr. Roy, it is, people used to say that Malwa is, of course, the strongest,
Yes.
area of AAP, and Majha and Doaba are relatively weaker. Of course, we've done phenomenally well in Majha and extremely good in Doaba. But Malwa alone today can ensure that we form the government. We've probably won, I think, about 65 of 69 seats, and the majority mark is somewhere around 59. So Malwa alone.
Malwa itself
reflects
reflects the Delhi result for AAP.
It's a complete sweep, but you know,
Malwa,
Raghav, it's true. The number of big wickets that have fallen, I mean, who could have thought? Prakash Singh Badal, Sukhbir Badal, Captain Amrinder, Channi has lost in both his seats. But before you go now, Raghav, we've been holding you to this for a long time. Now you have to give us a taste of the song. The AAP campaign song before you go. You have to serenade the panel and then you can go. And then you can go. Now you can't say no.
I will sing a few. No, I'll sing a few lines, provided you also sing with me. I don't expect.
We are all rushing off in that case.
I don't expect.
No, then the ratings.
I don't expect BJP's Vishwajit Rane or Anupriya Patel ji to sing with me, but I can expect you to sing with me.
Come.
I'm sipping hot water. I've lost my throat, so you have to bear with me, and I'm going to sing at the risk of NDTV losing its viewers.
Okay. You sound like Louis Armstrong. Come on.
हुन मौका है जरा हमला मारो, हुन मौका है जरा हमला मारो, बदल दियो पंजाब दे नक्श नुहारा नू, आप दी यारों बा फड़ के रल मिल खड़ के हुन मोड़ लियो बहारा नू, एक मौका है, एक मौका केजरीवाल नू, एक मौका है, हुन दे दो मौका यार नू, एक मौका है.
Too good.
Too good, Raghav.
Fantastic.
But you do need
alternative
a
career.
refreshment with that, right? When you're singing that. I have to admit to you one thing which I haven't admitted in public before. When I did my PhD, I was following combine harvesters all across Punjab. Every evening, we'd go to the dhaba with all my Sardar friends, because I'm a Sardar at heart. And in the dhaba, we wouldn't sit on the chairs. We'd all sit on the table. That's the way you have your refreshment in Punjab. And we would be refreshed for about 3-4 hours and then go back and work all night. So that was just to help you work, no other reason, just for health reasons.
And refreshed is obviously you're drinking lassi.
Also the spiritual level goes up.
Spiritual level.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed, Raghav. Fantastic. Congratulations.
You've given us so much insight and perspective. Please give us some perspective of how important you feel this election is, and this election has been, and how will things change after this?
Well, I am completely gobsmacked by the AAP's performance. I did not expect AAP to do so well, and it's quite remarkable given the fact that it's such a new party. It's just that I think YSR Congress also did really well in shortly after it was, after Jagan.
That also the Congress helped, right?
So the Congress helped. So I'm not very sure, but whether AAP can replicate this across India. Right. I don't see AAP replicating it in Tamil Nadu. I don't see AAP replicating it in Kerala.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to be a challenge. We just have to go across to Rita Bahuguna Joshi. Ma'am, sorry to keep you waiting again. Congratulations. Fantastic performance by the BJP. Just give us a sense, ma'am, that, again, there was this sort of perception that the race was narrowing as the phases progressed. It was becoming Kanti ki takkar, election atak gaya tha. Was that, did you ever sense any of that at all, or not really?
First of all, we were highly elated that the electorate of this country has given clear mandate to the BJP in 4 states. And there are a few takeaways from the electoral process in UP from 2007 onwards. And I've had a talk with Prannoy earlier also. See, the people are giving very clear mandates now. There is no confusion. And 2007, 12, 17, 19, 22, they've always been giving clear mandates. And the pattern of voting has also changed. The trends have changed. Earlier it was only caste. But after 2014, when Narendra Modi came on the scene, thereafter we find that the narrative changed and the trend changed. People were looking for good governance. They were looking for delivery of promises made in manifestos at the ground level. And I think that became a major point. And since 2017 onwards, the double engine government, as we call it, has delivered very well on the social welfare schemes in the state. And the way they control the law and order situation and Corona, the hard work that was put in by the Chief Minister. So in totality, I would say, women felt safer, women felt safer, youth was feeling quite happy with the kind of investments that were coming. They were hopeful, though there is a lot of unemployment, and the farmers were also taken good care of. So in totality, people felt that this was a government and the leadership. The second takeaway, which is very important, is the leadership.
The leadership was a big factor, right?
Yeah, people look up as to who's going to lead them.
Okay.
So one is,
but just one question
I had. Modi and Yogi have really won the confidence of the people.
One, because it's very interesting, Prannoy. We have two ex-Congress leaders. We've got Vishwajit Rane and Rita Joshi. Both come from, strong political families. One in Goa, one in Uttar Pradesh. Both are now in the BJP. Rita ji, what would you say, looking back at your, because you come from the Congress gharana, what is going wrong with the Congress in state after state? How would you analyze it?
Well, I think they're living in a bubble. They feel that the family alone can resurrect the party. They don't have leadership. They don't have vision. And I've seen there's no hardworking leadership in that party. The workers have all disappeared. There are only a few leaders at the district levels. And, they work from, as you say, they're seasonal politicians. So when the elections come close, they'll all come together. See, what Priyanka did was coming out for elections 3 months before and giving a catchy slogan. People are not interested in catchy slogans. They want substantial work and connectivity with the leadership, which the BJP does, which the Congress doesn't have and the BJP has. You should see the network of BJP. See, when I came into the BJP and I saw their networking, the amount of hard work they put in, their workers are always on the toes, and all their leaders also on the toes, like the workers. So I feel that people, as you say, social media is fine, everything is fine, but still personal connectivity is very important. And that question that comes to the workers in the BJP, Congress is missing on that.
That was important.
And people are not accepting the leadership of both Rahul ji and Priyanka. So I think the BJP is talking sense when it says that it's not only the family that can resurrect a political party. We want a strong opposition. We are not against any party.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to get Mr. Rane's view on the similar point. First of all, Sir Rane, just tell us what's going to happen. How are events going to unfold over the next 2 or 3 days in Goa? Are you going to go with 23 people, 25 people? How many MLAs have you got on your side now? I know you won 20, but many may be joining you because the momentum is with you, right?
Yeah, so we just had a meeting today with Shri Prannoy and several other leaders from who were here and looking after the elections in Goa. Yeah. Already 3 independents have given their letter of support to the Bharatiya Janata Party, and the Maharashtravadi Gomantak Party also has given the letter of support to the party. So we have got, and there was a press conference also held today evening. So we are about 25. So they will take appropriate decisions, since there is no hurry to go to the governor, because they will decide on all the modalities and then stake claim to form the government, because we have got absolute majority now with about 25 members with us.
And if you wait a couple of more days, that may go to 30 also, right?
He's
because
laughing.
the momentum is with you. Is there any signs that others will also kind of may join you?
From your former party?
No, no such thing was discussed. No such thing was discussed today, because the BJP has got absolute majority now with the letters of support, and I think we will be in a better position to give a very stable government to the people of Goa.
Right, but Vishwajit, before you go, I have to ask you this, and in a sense this also speaks to Rita Joshi ji, that both of you say that the Congress is terrible, the BJP is the place to be, but this is what we were saying earlier, that it's not so much Congress Mukt Bharat, but BJP Yukt Congress, that you have so many of you from the Congress crossing into the BJP. I mean, the Goa BJP is basically full of ex-congressmen like yourself.
No, Rita ji is a senior, is a very senior leader, and I have had a very good experience and working at the grassroots here in the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's totally a disciplined party. And if, like what she said, is that Congress has totally lost connect with the people, and that's obvious with the results in the state of Goa. And also just working for specific elections or getting some candidates on board who are financially strong is not going to help. Continuous working like a simple karyakarta and being in touch with the grassroots on a regular basis, irrespective whether there is an election or no election. And there's a different way of working style in the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now we have got into the system, we know how to work and we know how to win the elections also. But it requires a lot of discipline. While Congress, I feel, has lost total connect, and I, like Rita ji said, it's the family alone cannot get votes for the party. It is the work at the grassroots and getting the people together which is very much required.
All right. Okay, thanks.
Excuse me.
Thanks very much indeed.
But
all the Congress families are now in the BJP. Sorry to the Congress, all the Congress families, Vishwadit, you with all respect, you and your wife are in the BJP. Rita ji is there. All the Congress dynasties are now in the BJP. So.
No, what was the other way? See, we are into politics to serve the nation. And the BJP is acceptable to the people because it talks of, collective help to people or collective care of the people. So you will see all the policies are very, diffused and they go to everybody. So I think, you are in politics to pursue some goals.
Okay.
And the goals are to serve the people.
Before we go to...
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt.
It's not a terrible party, please.
Okay.
Dorab, I wanted to ask you, Rita Boguna just said we are in politics to serve the nation. Maybe she is, but so many people are switching sides. Are they in politics as a career? And just that they can get on rather than serve the nation. Is there a
I'm sorry, what
dichotomy
do you
there?
think they were in for? About 25, 30 years ago, I was traveling on a plane with a person who later became among the top 4 or 5 office holders in the country. And I said to him, tell me, at the time of the first parliament, what proportion of those who went out of politics, the end of it, went out better off than when they came in? And what is the position now? He says today, it's only the accountants, the lawyers, the doctors, the professionals who don't get out poorer. The rest of them all, it's a career.
We just have to, fair enough. Sorry, we just have to go across. Manish Sisodia is with us. Deputy Chief Minister, Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party. Congratulations, Manish Sisodia. Fantastic.
Thank you. Many congratulations.
And thank you for joining us, Manish Sisodia. This was big. I mean, again, this is a question that we're all processing. Did you sense it was you were going to win? That's what everybody. But this big. Did you sense that ever?
बिल्कुल मैं जब गांव-गांव में जा रहा था, खासतौर से जो अमृतसर और गुरदासपुर और ये जो बेल्ट्स हैं जहां पिछले बार हम जाते थे तो लोग उस तरह का रिस्पांस नहीं करते थे 2017 में, लेकिन अब जब मैं वहां के गांव-गांव में गया तो लोगों को दिल्ली का काम पता था, उनको ये पता था कि केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस में ये काम हुए हैं। मैं एक छोटे से गांव में गया, मैं आपको बहुत क्विक एग्जांपल देता हूं जिससे काफी तस्वीर मुझे भी साफ हुई। मैं पंजाब पाकिस्तान बॉर्डर के पास के एक गांव में गया और मुझे मेरे ही साथियों ने बहुत सारे इश्यूज बताए थे कि यहाँ के ये भी इश्यूज हैं, यहाँ के ये भी इश्यूज हैं और हमें इन पे भी काम करना है जब सरकार बनेगी तो 400-500 लोगों का एकदम बॉर्डर के पास 3 किलोमीटर पहले गांव में बहुत जमावड़ा था और मैं उम्मीद कर रहा था लोग उन इश्यूज के बारे में मुझसे पूछेंगे इस पे क्या करोगे, लेकिन वहां मुझे लोगों ने कहा साहब हम तो ऐसा है आपको सुनने इसलिए आए हैं कि आपने दिल्ली में एजुकेशन पे अच्छा काम किया है, हमारे यहाँ हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी 70 किलोमीटर दूर है, हमारे पास कॉलेज नहीं है यहाँ पे, हमारे यहाँ कॉलेज खुलवा दोगे क्या, आपने एजुकेशन पे काम किया है। उस दिन मुझको समझ में आया कि एक्चुअली केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस गांव-गांव तक पहुंच चुका है और लोग इस बार बदलाव देने का, केजरीवाल जी को मौका देने का मन बना चुके हैं। सो वी एक्सपेक्टेड मतलब मे बी 5 seats more or less, but yes, we were expecting somewhere like this.
Manish Sisodia, again, fantastic congratulations. It's a record and it's really amazing your achievement both in Delhi and Punjab. But I just want to ask you something which last time when in fact Shekhar and I went around and Radhika went around Punjab, we saw the similar thing. Huge AAP support. Everybody you spoke to said AAP, AAP, AAP. And we came up with a 60% chance that you would form the government and you didn't. Something happened between that support and voters coming to the booth. What did you learn from that? What was the reason for that? Because you did have huge support in 2017 also, right?
ऑफ कोर्स डॉक्टर रॉय, हर बार जब भी आप चुनाव लड़ते हैं या किसी उसमें जाते हैं एक्टिविटी में, तो हमेशा नया कुछ सीखते हैं। लेकिन 2017 और 2022 में एक सबसे बड़ा डिफरेंस मुझको यही लगा कि 2017 में जब हम गवर्नेंस की बात करते थे, केजरीवाल जी कहते थे हमने ये कर दिया या हम ये कर रहे हैं दिल्ली में, तो वो नया नया था, लोगों ने उसका रिजल्ट देखा नहीं था। लोगों को पता नहीं था कि हो सकता है। उन्होंने बहुत सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टियों को वही कहते हुए सुना था जो हम वहां जाके कह रहे थे, और हम ये कह रहे थे दिल्ली में हम कर रहे हैं, हम शुरुआत कर रहे हैं, हम कर रहे हैं। लेकिन 2022 तक आते आते लोगों ने ये सुन ही लिया और देख भी लिया कि दिल्ली में हो सकता है। उनको लगने लगा कि ये तो पंजाब में भी चाहिए, पंजाब में भी हो सकता है। ये बड़ा डिफरेंस मुझको।
बेटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑन द ग्राउंड नाउ, यू नो, पार्टी वर्कर्स।
बिल्कुल, निश्चित रूप से जो 2017 में
2017 very few party workers, there were much less, I think.
पार्टी का बहुत बेस बढ़ा और इस बार पंजाब के लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे से चुनाव लड़ा। वहीं के वॉलंटियर्स ने जितनी मेहनत की, जितना शिद्दत से 4-5 महीने में गांव-गांव जाके इस बात को पहुंचाया कि भाई पंजाब में भी इसकी जरूरत है। दिल्ली में केजरीवाल जी कर सकते हैं, तो केजरीवाल जी को यहाँ भी एक मौका देने की जरूरत है, और लोगों ने उन पर भरोसा किया।
जी, तो मनीष, पंजाब में तो जैसे कहना ना, एक मौका दे केजरीवाल ने दिया है। अब कहां आपका नेक्स्ट टारगेट है? क्योंकि अब ये देखा जा रहा है कि अब आप इसको नेशनल ले जा रहे हैं, और खासकर जो पीएम पोस्ट के दावेदार, क्या आपको लगता है अब केजरीवाल हैं?
नहीं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि अभी हम ये सब सोचने की स्थिति में हैं कि पीएम पोस्ट के दावेदार हैं या नहीं हैं। अभी हमारा नेक्स्ट टारगेट आप पूछेंगे तो हमें हमारी पार्टी को, हमारी पार्टी के लीडर्स को पंजाब में सरकार बना के वो सब करना है जो हमने वहां कमिट किया है, जो हमने दिल्ली में करके दिखाया है, जिस शिद्दत से करके दिखाया है, वही उसी शिद्दत से, उसी ईमानदारी से पंजाब में भी करके दिखाना है। और जब लोग कहेंगे कि भाई केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस दिल्ली में भी हो सकता है और पंजाब में भी हो सकता है, तो अपने आप जगह मिलेगी उसको, अपने आप स्पेस बनेगा उसके लिए।
I think Dorab and Shekhar have a question for you also, sir. Dorab, you're on mute.
Delhi is a small, compact state, relatively well off financially, so you have the financial power. Punjab is a state where there is a huge deficit. The state is not, it used to be a very rich state. Today in terms of per capita income is low. There is a lot of distress. Where will you find the resources, and how much more difficult will it be for you to do the Delhi miracle in Punjab?
मेरे से ये सवाल बहुत बार पूछा जाता है, नॉट ऑन योर इलेक्शंस, हर जगह पूछा जाता है। मैं आई वंडर कि उत्तर प्रदेश हो या पंजाब हो या कोई और बड़ा राज्य हो, रिसोर्सेज की तो वहां भी कमी नहीं है। अगर पंजाब के मंत्री के पास इतना पैसा आ सकता है कि वो अपने घर की छत पे हेलीपैड बनवा ले, अगर उसके मुख्यमंत्री के पास इतना पैसा आ सकता है कि वो अपने लिए सुखविलास बनवा ले और वहां रेसकोर्स बनवा दे पूरा, तो ये जनता के पैसे से ही आया है। वो पैसा अगर दिल्ली की तरह से ईमानदारी से जाता तो सरकारी खजाने में जाता, अभी उनके घर के हेलीपैड पे लग रहा है। अंतर इतना ही है। मैं बहुत सिंपल भाषा में, सिंपल शब्दों में इस बात को कर रहा हूं, लेकिन सच्चाई यहीं से आती है। अगर राजनीति को ईमानदार नहीं होगा, अगर हम सोचेंगे कभी किसी राज्य के पास बहुत पैसा आ जाएगा फिर वो डेवलप करेगा, ये नहीं होने वाला। कभी किसी के पास, राज्य के पास ईमानदार राजनीति आ जाएगी, फिर वो रिसोर्स इकट्ठे होंगे, ईमानदारी से इकट्ठे होंगे, ईमानदारी से खर्च होंगे, तो संसाधनों की कमी। दिल्ली में भी पिछले 5 साल में आप देखेंगे, 7 साल में दिल्ली का बजट ऑलमोस्ट 1.5 गुना बढ़ गया है। दिल्ली का रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन, जो कि हमारे से पहले 1,000 करोड़ रुपए हर महीने बढ़ता था, आज पिछले 7 साल से 5,000 करोड़ रुपए हर महीने बढ़ रहा है। शीला दीक्षित भी कहती थी
शेखर एक सवाल, जी शेखर आपसे सवाल करना चाहता हूं।
See, if you look at Punjab, it's mainly an agrarian economy. So everybody celebrates the fact कि ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन है, लेकिन उससे जो एवरेज इनकम है किसान की, वो पंजाब में कम होती जा रही है। और पंजाब एक एग्रीकल्चर के ट्रैप में फंस गया है। वहाँ बिल्कुल इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन नहीं आया, कोई वाइट कॉलर, ब्लू कॉलर जॉब्स कोई क्रिएट नहीं हुए। वहाँ के पढ़े लिखे लोग भी बाहर जाके ट्रैक्टर चला रहे हैं या ट्रक चला रहे हैं या रेस्टोरेंट्स में बर्तन धो रहे हैं, जबकि दक्षिण भारत के लोग जाके सॉफ्टवेयर का काम कर रहे हैं, स्टार्टअप्स बना रहे हैं। तो ये पंजाब जो वैल्यू चेन में एकदम नीचे चला गया है, नंबर 1 था इंडिया में आज से 22 साल पहले, आज नंबर 13 है और 14 होने का खतरा है। तो इसके लिए आपके पास कोई प्लान है? एजुकेशन तो ठीक है, लेकिन पंजाब को ये एग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी के ट्रैप से कैसे निकालेंगे?
देखिए, एग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी मुझे लगता है ट्रैप नहीं है, असेट भी है, पहली बात। दूसरी बात कि पंजाब का यूथ आज कनाडा पढ़ने जा रहा है और वो व्हाइट कॉलर जॉब्स ले नहीं रहा, दे भी रहा है। मैं आपको एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल फिर से बताता हूँ। चुनाव के दौरान जब मैं घूम रहा था तो मुझे एक गांव में जाने का मौका मिला। वहां पंजाब के ही एक लड़की ने MBA किया और उसके भाई ने थापर कॉलेज से BTech किया, और दोनों भाई बहनों ने मिलकर अपने गांव में एक IT कंपनी बनाई है। आज वो मुंबई या कहिए बेंगलोर या पुणे जैसी कंपनियों की तरह से, जैसे वो विदेशों से काम लेती हैं, आज पंजाब के एक गांव की IT कंपनी भाई बहन द्वारा बनाई गई, वो विदेशों से भी काम ले रही है और देश का काम भी कर रही है। और आज वहां उन्होंने 100 एम्प्लॉय रखे हुए हैं जो अमृतसर जैसे शहर से गांव में व्हाइट कॉलर जॉब करने जाते हैं। हमने अभी गांव की ताकत को यूज नहीं किया, हमने गांव के उसको स्पेस को यूज नहीं किया, वहां हम फेल हुए हैं एज ए नेशन। मुझे लगता है कि हमें IT सिटीज की जगह अब IT पिंड खड़े करने चाहिए। IT पिंड अगर खड़े कर, और मॉडल है, पंजाब में ही मॉडल है, कहीं बाहर से नहीं लाना है। अगर एक भाई बहन मिलके IT पिंड खड़ा कर सकते हैं और अमृतसर के 100 लोगों को व्हाइट कॉलर जॉब काम में बुला सकते हैं, तो इट कैन हैपन।
Right, just to interrupt you for a second, in Delhi we faced a lot of pollution. We heard, and I know it's a great interest of the Aam Aadmi Party here, but there was always, oh, Punjab, there's crop burning, and that's coming over to Delhi, and we have no control over Punjab farmers. Now you have both states, and is pollution high on your agenda, and do you have any plan to prevent crop burning and reduce pollution in both the places?
बिल्कुल है। जो दिल्ली का अपोर्शनमेंट है पॉल्यूशन का, उस पर हम दिल्ली सरकार में काम कर रहे हैं। पंजाब की तरफ से जो अपोर्शनमेंट एक पर्टिकुलर टाइम पे आता है, उस पर पंजाब की सरकार को काम करना चाहिए था, अब आगे करेगी। और बाकी और राज्यों से जो है वो वहाँ की सरकारों को करना पड़ेगा। बट नॉर्थ इंडिया की पॉल्यूशन एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। हम बार बार कहते रहे हैं कि सबको मिलकर करना पड़ेगा इस पे।
Because harvesting is about to start now in Punjab.
बिल्कुल, लेकिन उन किसानों को हमें असेट बनाना पड़ेगा। अभी हम उनको लायबिलिटी बना रहे हैं, अभी उनको नहीं मान के चल रहे हैं कि ये तो लायबिलिटी है। किसानों को असेट मान के चलना पड़ेगा। वो जो प्रोड्यूस है उसको भी असेट मान के चलना पड़ेगा। किसान की भी कमाई होगी। थोड़ा सा सोचने की जरूरत है। मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि दिल्ली और पंजाब में आप एक इस तरह का हार्मोनियस मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस देखेंगे जो शायद अभी कहीं देखने को नहीं मिला।
चलिए,
एक्सीलेंट एक्सीलेंट, थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड कांग्रेचुलेशंस अगेन।
इसी का उम्मीद करते हैं।
कांग्रेचुलेशंस, बहुत बधाई आपको।
Okay, we have to go across now. We've got a number of guests waiting. We've got Satish Chandra Dubey, Prannoy, Rajya Sabha MP of the BJP. Gurdeep Sappal of the Congress is with us. Pradeep Fanjumam, senior journalist from Manipur, is with us. But first, Satish Chandra Dubey ji, again, बहुत बधाई आपको। धन्यवाद, आप हमारे साथ जुड़े, और माफी चाहते हैं कि हम इतना वक्त ले लिया।
Sorry, thank you very much for staying. Good to have you here. I think it's just, thank you very much and apologize for keeping you waiting, sir.
आप सुन पा रहे हैं हमें सतीश चंद्र जी?
जी सुन रहे हैं।
जी, माफी चाहते हैं, बहुत वेट करा दिया आपको। ये बताइए।
ना उसी समय से आपका न्यूज देख भी रहे थे।
अच्छा, थैंक यू। ठीक है, चलिए ये बताइए कि ये बहुत बड़ी जीत हो गई। योगी जी 2 बार अब जीत के आए हैं मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर, जो काफी ऐतिहासिक माना जा रहा है। इस पूरे मतलब जो जीत से अब बताइए, योगी जी का जो नेशनल प्रोफाइल है, इसके बारे में बताइए। क्या योगी जी एक तरह से नेशनल लीडर हो गए हैं? कहा जा रहा है कि भाजपा में अब ये नंबर 3 लीडर हो गए हैं।
देखिए, ऐसे भी उत्तर प्रदेश देश का सबसे बड़ा प्रदेश है, सबसे ज्यादा विधायक की संख्या वहां है, और उत्तर प्रदेश का चुनाव अपने आप में बहुत मायने रखता था। और रिजल्ट आने के बाद निश्चित रूप से डेवलप हुए हैं। उनका व्यक्तित्व काफी निखरा हुआ है, उनका कद काफी बढ़ा हुआ है।
तो नंबर 3 पे आ गए हैं?
बिल्कुल।
अच्छा, वाह, बिल्कुल आ गए हैं। तो ये बताइए कि क्या मतलब एक माना जा रहा है, अभी नहीं, अभी तो मोदी जी हैं और रहेंगे भी, लेकिन कभी आगे जाके क्या योगी जी पीएम पद के दावेदार हो सकते हैं?
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी है, इसमें कहीं किसी भी कार्यकर्ता को किसी जगह पे बैठाया जा सकता है। अभी भविष्यवाणी करना गलत होगा मेरे लिए, और उसके लिए बहुत बड़ा भारतीय जनता पार्टी में लीडर की कमी नहीं है। इस पे मंथन होता है। कोई भी डिसीजन लेने के पहले काफी कोर कमेटी बैठती है, तब उस पर डिसीजन लिया जाता है। तो मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एक कार्यकर्ता के रूप में काम किया हूं, काम करता हूं, इसलिए इतना बड़ा डिसीजन सुनाना और इतना बड़ा सुझाव देना मेरे लिए बेहतर नहीं।
वैसे ही जैसे अडवाणी जी को मार्गदर्शक मंडल में धकेल दिया था।
Achha. No, but
do you have a question, Aditi?
I think she just, it was more like a comment.
But any question to follow that?
I'm just wondering कि दुबे जी,
yeah, go ahead.
आपको मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही?
हाँ, बोला जाए.
हाँ. तो ये बताइए कि इस पूरे जो भी आपकी जीत हुई है, जो कि अप्रत्याशित है, उसमें इधर इस जीत के बाद अयोध्या और राम मंदिर और मथुरा और काशी और इन सब चीज़ों पर बहुत ज़्यादा टिप्पणी नहीं की है किसी ने. इन सब चीज़ों को लेके क्या मंशा है आपकी?
हम लोग का जो काम शुरू हुआ है उस काम को अंतिम अंजाम तक देंगे. जो एक दो धर्म की आस्था का केंद्र है, दूसरा पर्यटक की दृष्टि से, पर्यटन की दृष्टि से काफी डेवलप करने की जरूरत है. ये दोनों काम दोनों दृष्टि से बहुत ही मजबूत है और इस काम को हम लोग करेंगे.
जी चलिए ठीक है. Very quick comments, gone completely over. We've got Gurdeep Sappal of the Congress party with us. Gurdeep Sappal, would you say this has been one of the most disastrous days for the Congress?
Well, you can't have two views about it. It has been a disastrous day, and there are reasons for it, Srinivas, because we have to accept as a party that things have not gone the way that we wanted to. And the conflicting voices of our leaders, they do damage our prospects. This is one realization that Congress party has to internalize. Right. Our politics has been right. All the issues that we have been raising in past few years, be it about Berojgari, be it about atrocities, be it about COVID, any issue, Congress party has been raising it. And the party that wins, Aam Aadmi Party, has always been silent.
Right.
It was a party in governance which was passive in Delhi riots, but it succeeds because now the communication has been replaced by propaganda. Right. Congress party has not believed in propaganda. Even recently, last week, Congress party did two major decisions, having old pension scheme in Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, but you do not see those ads around.
Okay, so propaganda is where you're falling short.
You're not getting a message across.
Right. Just literally, okay, last word. So sorry, I hate being in this room, but literally this is how it is. Pradeep Fanjumam is here with us. Prannoy is one of the senior most journalists from Manipur.
Excellent journalist, yeah.
And Pradeep, very nice to connect you after a long time like this on TV. But Pradeep, just your very quick take on what has happened in Manipur. I mean, a big win for the BJP. Did you see this coming?
Yeah, actually, this was what was expected, actually. But for some time, we thought it was going to be hung assembly. But they would just, or else they would just manage the simple majority, and that's what they managed. And I think probably, the usual reading is that the Congress is, of course, the Congress is lost. But as you were saying of Goa, half the people in the BJP in Manipur also are Congress. So I think it's in a way the same wine in a different bottle. That kind of thing.
Interesting. Right, I think this Dorab is another more proof of your Congressization of the BJP. Actually, it's physically ex-Congress people in there. There's one more graph I want to talk about, Kasganj, and I want to ask you about that. Just have a look at this bellwether constituency, which before this election, for the last 12 elections, has voted the same winner as overall. And this time?
And this time the BJP is winning handsomely with 52%.
My God. So it's 13 times in a row, Kasganj. So we don't have to do polls, just go to Kasganj.
Since 1974.
Since 1974,
that's right.
They've voted the same winner as the state.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And it's a town which saw a riot, by the way, 2018. Terrible riot in 2018 when the BJP says there were no riots in the past 5 years. Well, this was a big one. But we're completely out of time. But before we go, I think, Prannoy,
yeah, I just wanted to once again say how much we have missed one of our most dear and wonderful human being colleagues, Kamal Khan. A great reporter, a great journalist, and a great person. And we really miss him. And we'd like to close tonight with a 1-minute memory of Kamal Khan.